Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee is with us now. Senator Blackburn, thanks for calling in. Good to talk to you as always.
Good talking to you. Thank you so much.
We do want to ask you about what's going on with the New Hampshire primary, but if we can first, just want to get your reaction to this 5-4 Supreme Court decision that the Biden administration has the right to remove razor wire from the border and thus make it easier for illegals and for fentanyl and drug dealers and all the rest of it to get into the country.
It was disappointing to see this decision out of the Supreme Court yesterday. I understand that there will be another review of a case. And of course, we know constitutionally if the federal government does not fulfill its obligation to defend the state has the right to defend themselves. And that is the action Texas was taking, defending themselves against an invasion. So it's going to be interesting to see when they take a second bite at this apple what direction that they're going to travel. But I think most people agree that Texas is there to defend their border. They are there to defend the private property of ranchers and farmers that live along that border. And you're going to see them continue to push to secure that area and secure their communities. We've all heard about what has happened there in the Rio Grande Valley, what has happened to Eagle Pass, and we've heard these stories from citizens that live there that have demanded that the state step up and help them to protect themselves.
Senator Blackburn with us now. Marsha, appreciate you coming on. Tonight, obviously, we will get the results in New Hampshire. Trump is a big favorite to win there, as he did in Iowa as well. Presuming that Trump wins there, I bet you know Nikki Haley at least a little bit over the years. I'm sure you guys have crossed paths. Do you think she should end her campaign if she loses in New Hampshire tonight? Do you think she will?
Yeah. Clay, I think it is so important for her to end her campaign, and I do know her, and I know that she is a hard worker, and she has served her state and her country in times past and has done it well. I think that the voters have spoken, and whether you're looking at the resounding victory, historic win in Iowa, or what is going to be a historic win in New Hampshire, and the polling that is coming out of states, South Carolina, the Super Tuesday states, President Donald Trump is going to be the party's nominee. It is time for us to unite this party. It is time for us to stand with President Trump. It is time for us to put all of our efforts into a general election effort to make certain that he wins, to make certain that we take the Senate, that we keep the House, that we do well in our state-based elections for governor, for state house, for state senate. And Republicans need to put their attention on that. And any time, any dollar that we spend on these primary races is time and money that we don't have to put into winning in November. And winning in November, having President Trump in the White House, making certain we get this country back on track, that is where we need to spend our time.
Speaking to Senator Marsha Blackburn of Tennessee, Senator Clay and I frequently speak about what now it seems Donald Trump, previously the Republican nominee, whoever it was, but it seems it will in fact be Trump, what he'll be facing on the other side of the political spectrum here. I mean, who's going to be the Democrat candidate? What do you think their plan is going to be with Biden trailing so badly already in these polls? I mean, how do you see them trying to make up that gap?
And what we know is that the Biden camp has said that he will be the nominee and he is running for re-election. And they don't seem to have a plan or a recognition of how poorly he is doing in the polls. And when you look at how his popularity has continued to drop since he was sworn in, that was his high water mark. and he is not going to win this. And there again, this is one of those reasons. The fact that the Democrats are not realistic about this. They're not realistic about where the American people are on these issues. And you look at the polling, and where are independents moving? They are moving to President Trump. And the reason they're doing that is because they remember what the economy was like, what our border security was like under President Trump. They remember that our enemies feared us and that our allies knew that they were an ally. All of these things are weighing on their minds as they look at what is going to happen in 2024. So I think it's time for people to get on Team Trump. It's time for people to realize that the Democrats just kind of have their head in the sand. That's fine. Biden hasn't worked for them the way they thought it was going to work. People are not buying their message. We have an opportunity to put this country on the right track, and I think we should take it.
If Donald Trump came to you, Senator Blackburn, I know you're up for re-election, and you are obviously going to win comfortably. I'm not even sure what nutcase is going to be running against you here in Tennessee, but I look forward to voting for you in the primary in March and then in the general in November. But if Donald Trump came to you, and I've seen your name somewhat bandied about as a VP candidate, if he asked you who you would suggest he should be looking at as VP, who would you tell him?
And, I will first say my reelection effort, thanks for mentioning that, MarshaBlackburn.com. That's where your listeners will find me and can support my work.
And I would encourage all of you to go donate to Marsha. She's doing a great job as my senator and as many of your senators in Tennessee, but also doing a good job advocating for sanity. I was excited to vote for you in 2018. When you had a tougher race. I know this race is not going to be particularly tough, but money still matters. So, I'd encourage you to go do what you can at MarshaBlackburn.com. Sorry to cut you off, but I'll give you my endorsement.
I appreciate that. And, of course, I think that what we need to do is everybody say, President Trump, you tell me what I need to do to help you win, and I'm going to do it. That's what I'm doing. I'm saying I am here. I am fully supportive. We want to make certain that you win this race. And when it comes to someone who would serve as his vice president, I want him to make the decision of the person that he thinks is going to stand there and help him every step of the way to accomplish what he wants to accomplish, because we've got a long to-do list in this country. We need to cut the size of this bureaucracy. We need to seal our southern border. We need to make certain that we keep the tax cuts that President Trump put in place in 2017. And in 2025, that is going to be a very active battle on Capitol Hill. We need to make those tax cuts permanent. We need to have somebody at his right hand that understands that Hezbollah and Hamas and the Houthis, these are all proxies for Iran. We need somebody that's going to understand that China is an adversary, that they're not a competitor. And I want President Trump to have the brightest and the best around him helping get this country on the right track.
Awesome stuff. Go check out MarshaBlackburn.com. Good luck on the re-elect, Senator. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
You got it.